Hey guys, Jenna here. Welcome to my channel where I feature tours of creative spaces and alternative homes. Today we're going to meet Kara and take a tour of her self-built van dwelling, which is her full-time home on wheels. Kara built out this van so that she could embrace a free-spirited lifestyle while working remote. And she has an interesting outlook on what it's been like to be a solo female van dweller living a nomadic life. I want to see how many of you think you could live van life like Kara. So comment below if you think you could live a nomadic lifestyle.
Will you join me? Will you roam? Make this house our tiny home.
Hey guys, I'm Kara and this is Rocco. We're out here in Sedona, Arizona, and I'm stoked to show you my custom van. I've been living in the van for 2 years now almost. I was working a corporate job in Baltimore full-time. I just found myself constantly looking forward to the weekend, constantly looking forward to things, and I kind of got sick of it. I wanted to get out. I met some people at a climbing gym. I saw their vans built out, and I just remember looking in there and I was like, hey, I can do this. The van build was an interesting time in my life. It was stressful, but it was also fun. It was a growth and learning experience. I built it out next to my regular house that I had lived in at the time. I had a little driveway, so I did most of the work there. The total cost of the van itself, it was completely empty, nothing was in it. It was $24,500, and then I put about $15,000 into it. People would ask, oh, who built this for you? Did your dad do that, or did your husband or boyfriend build it for you? I'm like, no, I built it. And it feels so good to say that, like, I built this. It was really empowering in the end, honestly. It felt really good. Since starting on the road, I've definitely been exposed to a lot of the stereotypes that our society has. I got a lot of, oh, you're going out on your own, like, aren't you afraid to do this on your own? A woman, you shouldn't be traveling alone. You don't really encounter that as much when you're living a more of a traditional life. And it's an opportunity to empower yourself, take on challenges, and be like, I did this, I beat these stereotypes, I beat these people's expectations. It's been a good experience, it really has. I went with a 2017 Ram ProMaster with a 159-inch wheelbase. I went with this van because it had the best bang for the buck. There was one locally available that was lightly used, so I didn't have to pay that markup on a brand new van. We are in the backyard / garage. As you can see, the van is quite filthy because I like to use it. It's clean for about 30 minutes after I go to the car wash twice a year maybe. Probably wondering what this weird thing is. This is a hangboard, so I can train my fingers for climbing. We are in the gear garage now, where I keep all my extra items, all my climbing gear, adventure gear, and there is a lot more storage than you would think back here. It's really great when you're limited with the amount of items you can bring in the van. These nets, amazing purchase, super easy to store items of all different shapes and sizes. So we've got a tire inflator, which is fantastic. I also have a tire repair kit somewhere in here, so I can do it all myself if I've got a nail in my tire. I've got tents, I've got my climbing harness and shoes. This is great for when friends come so they don't have to get cozy in the bed with you. You can set up a tent next to the van or on the roof. A bike actually fits in here with the front wheel off. That is tucked back there. Didn't think I'd be able to do that, but it just fits. And these are my pride and joy of the gear garage. So my dad helped me build these. He is a cabinet maker. He's super good with stuff like this where you have to be exact with all the drawers and measurements. Come out pretty far, got some heavy duty drawer slides on here, and I can keep the dog food in this bin, extra stuff. We got a floaty in there for the river days, more climbing stuff. And these are heavy duty marine latches. They're awesome. They just hold these things in place no matter what. They've never come open. These window shades, my mom, dad, and I made this together. They are 1 inch of polyiso insulation, and my mom is a wizard with fabric and sewing, so she helped cover them by stretching the fabric tight over it. The other side has Reflectix on it, so it keeps the sun out, keeps the van nice and cool. And privacy as well. It's great to have those. All right, let's head up onto the party deck. I created a big space up here so I could do yoga on the deck and escape the dust and dirt when necessary. You can fit a whole boatload of people up here, so it's great for sunsets. We've got a 175 watt solar panel here. This is much less than most people have, I feel like, but it keeps me topped off at 100% as long as I'm in a sunny area. Even in the winter, getting dark at 5 o'clock now, it doesn't matter, I still have 100%. I do not run a lot of power hungry things like TV or electric heating devices or anything like that, so you may need more solar if that's the case, but this 175 works just fine for me. All right, there's not too much to point out on this side of the rig. These windows I put in after purchasing the van. They didn't come with it. They are specialty C.R. Lawrence windows. Down here, I've got the tiniest little hookup ever. All I have is a shore power plug. So if I'm at a campground or, you know, on the side of some random person's house in a neighborhood, just kidding, at a friend's house maybe, I can plug in. All right, let's go on inside and check out the interior. Let's talk about the kitchen. I've got a 2-burner propane cooktop by Ramblewood, and it works great for me. I really feel like I can cook outside and enjoy the outdoors with the stovetop in the doorway in this position, and it's really easy to air out the kitchen when I have something messy cooking. I do wish, since cooking is so important to me, that I had done a sort of fold-down extendable countertop here. The only problem is, don't know where I'd put the heater, so still kind of figuring that out. That's something I could add later if I wanted to. I also regretted not putting an oven in, but I found the Omnia stovetop oven, which acts like an oven, and you just simply put it on your stovetop, and it has holes in here to circulate the air so things don't burn. You can make pizzas, rolls, pretty much anything you can make in an oven. Right here you can see I've got a heating element. This is the Olympian Wave 3 catalytic heater. It runs off propane, and it's not my ideal heater. It does produce some condensation if I turn it on high. The good thing is I stay in climates where I rarely need to do that. It's usually just on low for a few hours. Ideally I would have a diesel heater under the passenger seat or somewhere else in the van, which runs off a small diesel tank that you don't have to vent your van with. You can leave it closed, keeping the heat in more. So that would be my ideal solution in the future. Come on in and let's see the rest of the inside. As we move through the kitchen, we have a hammered nickel bar sink. So I went with a smaller size. I just didn't want to take up so much counter space with a regular size sink. Here we have a countertop with wood veneer from IKEA, and I do wish I had done a solid wood countertop. Maybe that's an upgrade that I can think about. On the edges where I had to cut it, there's just kind of, you know, a bad veneer stick-on thing that keeps coming off, and it's warping a little bit because it's not watertight. So solid wood for the future. A lot of people ask me about these reusable paper towels, or unpaper towels as they're called. And I got these from Etsy, from an independent shop owner who's a really good sewer and makes all different patterns. They got terry cloth on one side and then a beautiful pattern of regular cotton on the other side. And they're just like a paper towel roll. You unsnap them here. If you had this paper towel rolls secured better, you could rip them off, but I'm afraid to rip it out of the under cabinet. So they're great little squares, and I can use that to wipe up the countertop, dry dishes, and I don't have to constantly be using rolls of paper towels and creating so much more waste than is necessary. I also have a magnetic spice rack here with some different common spices I use every day, and you'd be surprised how well these stick. I've driven down many of forest roads and they've never come off before. These overhead cabinets here I made with my dad. He is a great woodworker, and I couldn't turn down his offer for help with the cabinets in all the drawers here for storage. So this is my main pantry. These struts were a great addition. About a year into my build, I installed them. I didn't have anything as nice before, so the cabinet didn't stay open, and kept hitting my head on it like this. So definitely recommend these struts if you're going to do a similar design for your overhead cabinets. And this is a little cutout of Mary from Mary's Gone Crackers, if anybody knows how delicious those are. They reprinted the box to have a new design, and they stopped printing Mary on the back, so I cut her out so I could have a little keepsake. That's really creepy, but I don't care. You'll notice that I have a lot of storage in the van, and I don't really need all of it since I downsized quite significantly when I moved out of my house. Especially, you know, when I buy too much food, I kind of slip some of my items in the clothing drawers and hide them around the van because I don't have quite enough room in here for my appetite. So these are great. This is my dresser. I can access the top drawers if I'm in bed. I'm gonna grab a sweatshirt actually because it is getting a little cold in here. I do have a microwave, which you don't come across too often in vans. It runs off the batteries, which is awesome. I can't run it for too long or I drain them, but I only need it to reheat coffee for, 30 seconds, 1 minute. So it's nice to have so I don't have to get a pot out and dirty another dish. These are the drawers that hold all my kitchen utensils and my junk drawer. And I use these little push button lock drawer pulls, which have worked out great. Do wish I had used something a little more heavy duty on the bigger drawers. They're a little hard to grip when there's more weight in the drawer, but they still work just fine. Just more training for my climbing fingers. This is my pride and joy of the van. I love food and I love having a big fridge. It is the Isotherm Drawer 130 Fridge Freezer Combo. I went with a bigger fridge. I was a little concerned that it would draw too much power, but Isotherm makes super efficient refrigerators, and this runs on 12-volt electric. There's no propane hookup or anything. It's strictly electric. And I haven't had a problem with it drawing too much power. If you're going to be off-grid for a while, you can fill this thing up with anything, and fresh produce is great to keep in there too, so you don't have to be constantly making trips to the grocery store. I have a queen-size bed back here, and it spans the width of the ProMaster, so I really went with this van because of that. I'm tall, I'm 5'11", and I can sleep almost perfectly across here. I kind of have to sleep a little angled with my head over here and my feet down here. So it works out perfectly, and it's actually a queen mattress with about 6 or 7 inches cut off the end, so it's a little bit shorter, but it works great, and I can fit my dog up here with me, so that's a bonus. And the bed is pretty high up. I kind of have to do a little parkour move to get on the bed, but it gives me a lot of storage underneath in the back and down here as well with those dresser drawers. The ceiling is actually quite deceptive. A lot of people are like, oh cool, like tongue and groove cedar planks. These are actually furring strips from Home Depot, and if you don't know what furring strips are, they are the crappiest wood you can buy to put behind drywall in order to secure it to the wall. So these were like $1 something each, and I was just not ready to pay like $300 to $500 for a solid wood ceiling. Welcome to my workspace. This is where I get most of my work done on my laptop. I've got a nice table and comfy setup here with some cushions and this great window to remind me that this is my office now, in the middle of nature usually, or a Walmart parking lot, but usually something like this. It really reminds me that this is my life now, working out here, not having to go into an office every day. This is a router with an AT&T SIM card in it, and I get service through Adventure Wireless. It's $100 a month for unlimited internet which is really important for me to have as a web developer. I'm dealing with photo and video files all the time, so I have to have a solid connection, which this definitely has it because these antennas are like on steroids. I renamed my network FBI surveillance fan. So I actually get people who come up to me and they're like, "Oh, are you FBI surveillance fan?" It's kind of funny. I get a kick out of it. So. Rocco's little man cave. He keeps my feet warm while I'm working, and he loves going to his little space under there. A lot of people see this dog in the van and are like, "Oh, poor dog. Stuck in the van all day." This dog lives a charmed life. He's outside most of the time, he's hiking most of the time. He is not stuck in a house anymore for 8 hours a day. So if you see him in the window, he's not a poor dog. It is sometimes hard to stay clean in van life, especially when you've got a dog like this who just sweeps up all the dirt and dust. My van does have a white interior, but I used a high gloss paint so I can easily wipe down the cabinets and the floor as well. It's super easy to clean. All right, in here underneath my seating area is my electrical box. I got my 2 Battleborn batteries here. They're 100 amp hours each. They're lithium iron phosphate. And I also have a Victron 2000 watt inverter in here, this blue thing in the front, and that allows me to plug in my computer to charge, my coffee grinder, anything that's on a 110 volt system. I love having this extra seating area here. I put swivels on both of the seats, so over here I can kind of have like a date night dinner table feel. And have seating for 2 here, maybe to play card games or whatever. It just really opens up the van too. When these are turned around, creating more space is key when you're designing your van. When I was working a corporate job, I just remember always being tired and then always looking forward to the weekend or till I got off work. It's in a way, it's kind of living in the future. That's not a way to live. Like, I want to live in the present. I want to be like, oh, the week's starting. Like, great, what's going on this week? You know, I don't want to be dreading it. There is a way out. It doesn't necessarily mean living in a van, you know. There's many other options. But being willing to sacrifice some things to escape that was key. People often ask about living in the van and, you know, it being scary and risky. But I find that not doing these things you love and not getting outside of your comfort zone, I feel like that's more dangerous. That puts you at risk of living a life that you're gonna look back on and realize that you didn't do these things you loved because you were too afraid. I realized that I put such a high value on comfort and security. I changed that, and I think once you change that and are willing to make those sacrifices, things like this become a lot easier. Personal growth comes in when you take risks, you get outside your comfort zone. As cliche as that is, it's so true. I've realized that a lot since moving into the van.
Thanks for watching this week's video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week with a really cool video tour. So make sure to tune in. See you then.